So we could wait, we could wait to start. But I feel like it's over. I don't know that there needs to be.
Oh, you know what? I want people to get our expressions on camera as we watch the Flames complete one of the greatest comebacks in NHL history.
Right.
Let's go.
So for those who are maybe listening to this podcast or watching or whatever in the future, to wait any longer to start this post-game show that we call Afterburner seems unnecessary.
Correct.
So we are starting with around 10 minutes left in the third period in real time.
It's the early edition of Afterburner. It's the early Afterburner.
Look at how old is Alex Edler?
1,000. I thought he was done like a Vancouver career ago.
He looks like he should be over at Father David at noon on Thursdays.
Riding his Zamboni?
No, with the old goats playing.
He should be in one of those Viking TV shows over in Europe, and he's one of the grandmasters lending wisdom to young people or something like that, eh?
Look at him.
Look at him. Look at that goat. Imagine him going to the club in LA. I play for the Kings. Like, no, you don't, Grandpa. Get the hell out of here. Wait in line with the rest of them.
You creep. Hell of a pass on the Kempe goal, though.
Sure. I mean, geez, there's a lot of Kempe goals and passes and all kinds of. Let's see. Oh, that was the first one. Yes, it was. That sprung him. Yeah, that's a good point. He can still play.
Yeah. No, you know what? I was thinking watching this game. I was worried about this one for the Flames. I wasn't worried enough, apparently.
Well, yeah, I should have been more worried. I knew the Kings were good, but I just thought, Flames would find a way to do what they do, which is lose by one or get a point and go to overtime. That first period, Flames weren't good, but the Kings did a lot of very nice things. They made it look easy.
Yeah, I wrote it down. It's never a goal not to start fast, but you almost think that was, guys, they have been on the road, back home, back on the road. Let's go. Put the foot down and let's get this thing going. And they did. They're no fun to play against, this Kings team.
Deep, big, well coached.
Yeah.
And the thing we worried about mid-season was like, how are they going to get saves? Well, it might not be the sexy tandem they drew up in the whiteboard this summer with Cal Peterson and Jonathan Quick, but Copley's been sensational this year. And look at this, Naz is getting feisty. And on top of that, Korpisalo is coming in 3-0. So, that was my only concern with this roster was their goaltending, and it's been great. Hottest team in the league since All-Star break.
Yeah. Good at home. Good overall.
Sad dog.
Oh, yeah.
He's good when pushing piles down 4. Like, this is a guy you want if you're down 4. The problem is he helps you get down 4, and you'd probably be closer to even terms. You'd rather have it that way. Not that it's on him, but it's been a tough second half. Oof.
Yeah, and you know what? If you're going to, I don't know.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Don't say that. What do you think?
There you go. A little 5-on-3 for 2 minutes.
Is there any more props you need to hit? Do you have like a...
Well, no, I've still got the hat. I could pull out...
do you have a hat trick for Kempe paying plus 1,200 or something?
I've got my Blasty Pinder jersey.
Blasty Pinder? What are you talking about? Oh, do you?
Yeah. Okay. Your jersey.
I was asking what props you had in the game.
No, I meant Blasty Pinder.
Yeah. Okay. I was thinking, what do we got left here? It's a 2-man advantage, LA.
So, welcome to the show. Our sponsors, of course, on board with Afterburner. Derrick Newman of Newman Dean's Real Estate Group with CIR Realty. Do you want to do that one now as we watch this wind down? We'll keep people up to... Which is great. Because by the time...
facial hair for the next 10 minutes?
Well, what are we going to talk about? It's a 2-man advantage.
You're zipping it around pretty good here.
But by the time people listen to this, it's... Unless you're watching live.
It would be disappointing if the Kings didn't score here for nobody, but, a chance to get a 7 spot here. Let's go. Another penalty. Oh, dear. Wrong team. I'm
hoping your buy it or sell it is should Vladar start in Anaheim. I hope that's
I can't even. You know what I think it's about tonight? As the Flames have been wildly inconsistent this season, and they certainly have looked that part. never able to string 3 in a row together. Good against good teams, bad against bad teams. But buy it or sell it for Derrick Newman of Newman Deems Real Estate Group with CIR Realty. The LA Kings are a team you don't want to face in the playoffs. In fact, the LA Kings are the team to beat in the Pacific right now. The playoffs start today. Buy it or sell it. So right now, we'll let you that marinate. Vegas is the 1 seed. LA is the 2. Edmonton's the 3. And yes, Edmonton's got superstars, but they just barely got out of the wild card. Seattle's in a wild card. Those are your 4 teams in the Pacific.
I'm inclined to buy it, but Vegas is they're no joke right now either. They're 8-2 in their last 10. They have been pretty good. Eichel is back scoring again. Quick is giving them a little bit of
It's just that recency bias because they look so bad against Calgary, didn't they, last week? That's kind of swaying me a little. But LA.
Well, and you want to? Well, I was going to say you want to talk about recency bias. How good has LA looked? And that's the other thing.
There it is. See,
they have looked this good for a while. So I don't know that they're a cup contender. I think that it's going to be. It's what the story is going to be. Who comes out of the West and what's left of who comes out of the East? Because you would think that the battle to get out of the East is going to be so difficult, so taxing.
Yeah.
I don't see many sweeps coming in any of those series over there.
I don't know. It's so weird. Like, I didn't see a sweep coming in the Battle of Florida last year. We didn't see a sweep with Edmonton, Winnipeg in the bubble. Like, sometimes they're all close games, but it ends quick. And that's going to be the key if you're a Boston, a Carolina, a New Jersey, Toronto, Tampa. I still think Colorado's the beast. They're just finally starting to get healthy. Rantanen's about to hit 50 goals. Makar left practice today. That's not good, but you'd hope they do whatever it takes to get him right for the postseason. But if beyond Colorado in the West, why not the Kings? Right?
Yeah. Well, did you say the West or the division?
Well, the buy it or sell it is for the Pacific.
Okay.
But
I'll buy it for the Pacific, sure.
Yeah. And look, if Vegas had Mark Stone and they weren't on their 6th and 7th goalies of the year, whatever they're at,
well, maybe they will. I mean, it's pretty quiet on the Mark Stone front, but maybe they do get him back.
Well, right. And so if we do buy or sell and we know he's back, we can change it. But as of today, I would just be very weary about it. Coming off back surgery coming into the playoffs.
Well, in recency bias, we're watching the Kings as we speak.
Yeah.
They look like friggin' world beaters right now.
And best record in the league since the All-Star break. So that, I mean, it's not a real edgy ask, I guess. Oilers fans also won't like it, so that helps when we do it too.
Buy it or sell it. Presented by Derrick Newman of Newman Deans Real Estate Group with CIR Realty. Whether you're buying, whether you're selling, let Derrick do the work for you. You can email dnewman@cirrealty.ca or call 403-619-6661. Good
Dowdy,
old
man.
Derrick.
Would
you see that graphic? He's playing what, 26 a night?
Yeah. They worded it really poorly, but I understood what they were trying to do. They're like, most average. I'm like, that's not, don't put those words together. Just go TOI. Most TOI per game. Like, come on, guys. Don't call someone the most average. It's wild. And he had that rough year, I want to say like 4 or 5 years ago, but it's right back.
You hated him.
Well, he had an awful year.
Yeah, you hated him. And, well, you hated a lot of LA Kings that all of a sudden had a resurgence shortly after you crushed them.
12-goal season, and then he came back and ripped like 40 the next year.
Kopitar's dead. Kopitar's dead.
It was, he's past his prime, and that may be true, but he's still at a very high level. It's crazy to watch that these two guys are here and they've reloaded, because you've seen the other dynasty they're up against with Chicago, and it's like Kane's still very good, but he kills you in your own zone, so you just got to live with that. And Taves is just he's a hardworking guy that wears a letter. It's not like they can just surround those two. Like, they've been bad for 4, 5, 6 years in Chicago. This group is reloaded and those guys are still there and they're still good.
So this Kings team, you watch them now, they're going to the playoffs, and we're very clear with our buy and sell it, what we think of them.
Mm-hmm.
How many years have they been outside of the playoffs? Because, of course, 0. They get Byfield early. Right?
No, they were out for a while, yeah. I'll pull it up. They were in last year. That 7-game series was great against Edmonton, right?
Because you go, how long does it take if you believe that this is now something that young players, highly skilled, how long did it take? So they get back in, but how long was the drought? And I only bring it up because I know there are some Flames fans who feel like they're willing to handle a drought if it means getting some younger players and higher picks.
Yeah, I think they're totally different situations, but I'll go look at how many years they've missed. I mean,
why is it a totally different situation? All I'm talking about is how long teams have to be bad before they can be good again.
Well, and so why I think it's different is because Doughty and Kopitar are still massive pieces. I don't see two stars on this team that can still be great in 5 years for the Flames. That's why I think it's different. They've also been really sharp on pickups like Fiala and Arvidsson. It felt like, how do you get those guys at those prices? That's crazy. Like that's probably 55 goals for them this year. Like Victor Arvidsson was an absolute theft. But you know, I think they had Arthur Kaliev in the second round one year where they picked that. That might have been the Byfield draft. So they were real bad for a little bit there. I'll go look at how many years.
This is quite a shooting gallery. As you mentioned, it's now 8-2. Pelche got victimized there. Pelche is going to be playing for the Wranglers. When's the next Wranglers game?
He's almost had his head taken off and they didn't call that. Yeah, that's not that sways the game, but that's got to piss you off.
Well, Sutter's going to send him right back. I know we got a game in Anaheim, but you should catch up with the Wranglers.
I don't know.
Go see my boy Brett. He'll pick you up at the airport.
It's going to be a real short list of guys that you won't want to put in the minors after tonight. Oof.
Tough start. And you know what? Again, we talked about it on the other show today. I just wonder how much of this is it's a good opponent that, as we said, has been unbelievable at home, and you're tired. And I'm not looking to give anybody a pass tonight, but it's just sometimes you're going to lose hockey games for reasons other than they're just, the Kings are better tonight for sure.
Yep. No, I think you can make the case they've been better all year. Yeah. They're a better team. You needed some luck.
2 in the road, you fly home, you play one, you're back on the road. You're just going to have to, the schedule is going to catch up to you. And even if they weren't gassed, I don't know that they were going to beat this team tonight.
Okay, so how many years did they miss?
2, for Christ's sake.
So they lost in round 1 to the Golden Knights in 2017-18. They missed 3 years in a row, and then last year they're back in.
And how long before that 3 in a row? Was it just
well, they win the cup. They don't qualify. They lose in round 1. They don't qualify. They lose in round 1. Then 3 in a row misses. So they really didn't bottom out that badly. There was 2 years they fucking sucked, 18-19 and 19-20. And then it was
losing in round 1 is almost peak sadness.
Geez. I mean, ask Flames fans. They'd love to lose in round 1 right now. Peak sadness is absolutely missing the playoffs. What's that?
What am I hearing?
Does he not mute himself? Over here.
What are you doing?
Is that you?
Is that you?
Not me.
It's got to be you.
I don't know.
What are you doing?
Is it still 8-2? Did we miss a goal there? What happened?
No. I don't know.
So they only missed 3. I don't think the Flames. I don't know. You're like. Dustin Brown came back to life after they fired Sutter, but they had to move on from him. It's really the only 2 guys left from that core, right?
And that's the thing. Are both of those guys Hall of Famers?
Yep.
Doughty and right. So
I don't think there's a Hall of Famer on the Flames that's going to be great in 5 years. It's still going to be a Hall of Famer, so to speak, right? And that's where it's different. They also have done a really good job of, turning guys into assets.
So with that theory in mind, then, if the Flames were really kind of all over the place, but so if the Flames say, okay, we're going to have to, this model hasn't worked, we're going to have to tear it down. More than a 3-year absence then, because the Kings missed and they've got Hall of Famers.
No, not necessarily. I just think it's funny that we're starting with the premise that you hate to begin with, which is the owner will never do it. Why are we talking about it? But
he won't.
If you literally went and said, okay, we got 7 free agents next year. Shillington, Zadorov, Tanev, Hannafin, Backlund, Lindholm, Toffoli. If you liquidate all those, you could turn things around very quickly. If you move Mackenzie Weegar for assets, because I still think you can move that contract, I think it goes quickly, but I think the realistic thing that we know is they're going to try to run it back. If it flops again, then you have to address it. But if you get a first for half those guys and a bunch of seconds and thirds elsewhere, you can turn things around real quick. You just need one or two of those guys to hit, right?
This has been a shit show.
Oh, yeah. First 8-goal game for the Flames since when?
Since 1993. Boy, Nick Ritchie's been good, though.
Has he? Has he earned a spot for you?
Fuck.
Speaking of guys that can get ready for the Wranglers. Yeah, that to me was that you're picking him up showed the desperation at the trade deadline of just like how lost this thing had gotten this year. Because that's a guy that's been, 6 organizations? And
I would love
everywhere.
I would love to know how that deal came to be. Was that is that Arizona saving money for the rest of the season?
Yep.
We'll give you Stetcher, right? Like, does it start with Stetcher?
I think they wanted to improve on their third pair. You're an injury away from having to see a lot of Gilbert and Zadorov, and we love Gilbert's mustard, but that's an area they could have improved. And you know that Darryl, if anyone was going to fix Nick Ritchie, it'd be him. No.
See, and that's the point I'm making.
Yeah,
I don't think it had what if it had nothing to do with Nick Ritchie? If it's we'd give you Mackey for Stetcher.
Yeah.
So okay, because what's the cap hit on Nick? It's north of 2 or whatever it is.
A lot more than it is on Brett,
whereas Brett's league minimum. So for the final 6-8 weeks of the season, Arizona saves.
Well, to be fair, if you're Arizona, like you get a guy that's hardly played for 2 years that was not far removed from being a highly touted prospect. A guy that was better than Yusuf Alamaki, if you ask the Flames in camp. Yikes.
Going through some of the
90 seconds left. Mercy.
Some
Lord.
of the chat here. How about that cheers of the game? Yeah, Christ.
That's easy.
It's
not going to be a Flame.
Sorry, get it.
And deep. Kempe.
Kempe's a stud.
He is a stud. He scores a lot more than I ever thought he would. Jeez.
Chris N on YouTube. No Fiala tonight for LA either. Which is true.
That's another guy.
Yeah, that is true. It is true.
They got him, I believe, for a second and an unsigned collegiate player that Minnesota knew they could pull out of university, I believe, this summer. And
was it? Or because I know Sarah Valley had that on the show, but then had to double back on it because he was wrong. Was there a first round pick involved in that trade?
It was a second plus that guy.
Because I know that Arvidsson was at 2 seconds, and then Fiala
I thought it was less than that.
Wait, we're starting Afterburner halfway through the third? This is a whole new level of Afterburner curse. Christ.
Yeah, this is the curse. This is the opposite of the curse. This is us knowing how it's going. We're not cursing shit. If it's the curse, come on. They were down 5 when we started.
Come on, JP.
Okay.
We're built for the playoffs.
LA Kings. Fiala. Here's a look at the swap. Fiala to the LA Kings for prospect defenseman Brock Faber. He's the college player. And LA's first. There you go. Okay, 19th overall. Yeah. So it was a first.
Thank you, Ryan Pike.
Is he watching and listening? Oh, boy.
Yeah, he's looking right there.
It's Faber. Nicely done. So Faber, I believe, is at Minnesota or somewhere in Minnesota, one of those universities. And it might be this year.
So I mean, they paid, right? But there again, they had some higher picks. They had Byfield at second.
Yep.
So you spend your first. Good player. And the Arvidsson, I thought, was for a package of seconds.
Yeah, I knew it was at least one. Maybe second, third, 2 seconds. Sure. Yeah. And it was, when that was? That, I believe, was right ahead of the expansion draft. And not many teams were able to say, oh, we'll just take another winger. Because they're like, we got all our shells covering guys. But LA was in a spot where they could. And I think if other teams weren't heading into the expansion draft, you would have had a free-for-all trying to get that guy. Yeah. So good work there. Not unlike when, what was it? McCann went from Pittsburgh to Toronto for like 8 minutes before the expansion draft. Teams would have loved to pick him up for a second. No one could protect him. Phoenix Copley, another win.
Make the final 8-2.
Yeah, to
for
update
the
that
LA
graphic.
Kings.
Well, it is already
Yeah.
like that too. Poor Alex
Yeah.
Singleton wearing the Flames jersey. It's his sister Ashley. She rubbing it in
Is he
tonight.
there? Oh, God.
Is there?
I'm gonna turn this off. I don't need to watch any more of that. So here we are. We can continue with the show. There's Mandeep. Watch your mouth.
Oh,
Holy
dear.
smokes, Mandeep says. Yeah. Afterburner while the game is on, speechless and heartbroken. And you know what? I saw Mandeep trying to rally up the troops and hey, there's still hope and all this sort of thing.
Yeah, not tonight.
Not tonight. We're not buying. You ain't selling. That's how that goes. We can, with Mandeep in mind, we may as well do the cheers of the game. It's presented by BK Bowfort Liquor. Located on the Trans-Canada Highway across from Winsport beside McDonald's. Stop in, see the family. Stock up on your way out to the mountains or wherever you're headed. Just if you're in that neck of the woods, stop by, say hi, and get yourself something. As I said last time, buy something. Don't be a deadbeat. Just walk in there, walk around, and walk out. Buy something. Rude not to.
Have a washroom to use.
I need to take. I've been pinching since Canmore.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, Adrian Kempe gets my cheers of the game. That guy can shoot the puck. Big, strong. Took a good cross check there too from Nazem Kadri, but that wrister, maybe it goes off Chris Tanev. I don't think it matters. That thing was a laser.
Yeah. I'm going to give a cheers to Flames fans that have to put up with this shit all year. This has been a tough team to hang through right now. Like, if you're still left here tonight, right now, watching the end of that game, pour yourself a cold one. You earned it. This has been a tough slog. I don't know there's been a more challenging season to cheer for a team in this city for a long, long time. And that's saying things because there's been some years where you're like, how did this group miss the mark by so much? But this has been quite an arduous journey.
If you were going to give one to a member of the Flames, you could maybe squint and say Tyler Toffoli, who gets his 29th.
Oh, I took that. I thought he was dead for a moment. That is a hard collision into the end wall, shoulder first. Like, how many times out of 10 does a guy get up from that and it's just hanging off him and he's done for the year? Like 8?
Grundstrom, Doughty, Velarde, Arvidsson, Kempe, Anderson, Mikey, and Grundstrom again.
Oh, Grunner got a pair.
Yeah. It's spirits are high. Cheers of the game. Brought to you by BK Bowfort Liquor. When you go into BK Bowfort Liquor, look for the most handsome man in the world. That will be Mandeep.
When that beard is groomed, hair is coiffed.
You're very swarthy and handsome. You must be Mandeep. You would be correct. BK
Are you
Bowfort
practicing this for a movie part? What are you doing here?
Have you been doing squats? Your butt looks like a bag of apples. You're in great shape. On Twitter at BK Liquor, on Instagram at BK Bowfort Liquor. They are good friends of the program.
Yeah. Great
partners. BK Bowfort Liquor. And great family. Family-run business. Support good people, would you? Support good people.
3-point night for Kempe, pair of assists for Byfield. So I was wondering about Byfield when I was just watching box scores or whatever, zipping around looking at lines. He was like centering the fourth line not long ago. And I'm like, like number 2 overall. It's kind of like you're giving it that squint like Capo Caco or Alexis Lafreniere. You're like, when is it? When is it? What do I need to know? Like, give me more context. He's up on the wing now. And that is a huge frame to be banging and crashing and playing with extremely skilled players, as you will when you're in the top 6. I like that a lot. And it's obviously a game where all the Kings look good, but I went from thinking like, okay, they have to like baby him in some soft minutes in the bottom 6 to like, oh yeah, this guy can help them.
Well, he's just a wee babe.
It's been a while.
He's still in diapers, Ryan. You have to let some of these guys, right? You got to give these guys some time. Let them mature.
It's gotta be awkward when he's in their locker room.
Oh yeah, diaper wearing freak, strutting around.
It's like if you're number 2 overall, you almost expect the guy the next year to like be on there's not a lot of twos that don't play for a while. That draft was 2020. We're coming up on 3 years.
Mark
before tonight.
Mark in on the chat. Maybe the Flames also had some yum yums. Maybe they did have some yum yum sauce, some ginger and some yum yum and steak spice or steak sauce today. I'm not sure. They were the shits, so that I suppose could be. And old Derrick chiming in. Boomer, how about your Betway? Kempe and Toffoli scored. Yeah, it's the you take the wins where you can get them. On the other show, Betway Bets of the Day, anytime goal for both Toffoli and Kempe paying plus 550, I think it was.
Well, that's a big number. That's a big game hunting. Well done, sir.
Big
I had the plus 250 for a Toffoli power play point. Huzzing! That'll make tonight a winner.
Yeah. Now, I won't boast about the one Betway win because the other one was the under on the hockey game.
Well, here's the thing, though, Dino. If you're making equal bets, your plus 550 is more than going to cover that loss. So don't even worry about it. You're going to go big game hunting, drag back some 5-point deer and moan about a duck you missed 2 weeks ago. Who cares? Let's go.
Nathan on the YouTube chat. Do you boys think Sutter will even want to come back? Any chance he just retires, especially if we bring up kids for next year?
You kind of floated that notion. I hadn't really thought about it. Maybe give us just more of that sort of angle, I suppose.
I just wonder. I don't know what it's going to be. Such a wild off season. That's the thing about this team right now. Mm-hmm. There's X number of games left, and it will be hard to get excited for some of them down the stretch, and it'll all just it's going to be hard because the other team in the province is doing great things. So it's going to be tough to be a Flames fan for a while. But then when the season ends, not so much in terms of what free agents are you going out to get, but to your point, if you're going to manage the team, you would think with that many expiring contracts coming up, you've got to either extend some or trade some.
Yep. And the market's pretty established for a guy like Lindholm. There's a lot of centers that are number one centers that have scored 40, but it'll probably settle in 25 to 30. You're going to have to pay him 8+, and you're going to have to give him all the term. And he still might say, you know what? If Daryl's back, I'm not. I think you're going to get that from a lot of guys, to be honest.
I agree with you. So, I think that there's not going to be a revolt, but I think when you have your exit meetings with whomever it is, if it's the GM or whoever it is, I just don't think there's going to be many people singing the praises of Daryl. This isn't a shot at Daryl. I think Daryl would probably realize that and understand, and he's probably fine with it. His coaching style grinds on guys, and it's hard when you're winning, and it's worse when you're losing. And as far as Daryl's concerned, I don't know. Remember last year, you won a round. You got in against the Oilers. If your goaltending was better, could you have won? Maybe, you can kind of squint and then you see how you've reloaded and come back for this year. I don't know how you can look at it if you're Daryl and say, yeah, next year is going to be so much better. We're really going to be a threat in the playoffs. Yeah. Maybe he just wants to go home. He's got grandkids now. I don't know.
What we don't know is the financial stuff, right? All the player stuff is public. You see all the term, all the money, and it's the rules about what you do with contracts are very black and white. With this owner and this coach, we don't know any of that stuff. I mean, we think it's a 2-year extension. We don't believe it was this year. It kicks in after this year. And to be fair, maybe they have a side deal where Murray said, I've been paying too many damn coaches that aren't here. I had to pay Bill Peters for something that happened when he was in Chicago's organization. I paid Bob Hartley for a season he wasn't here. I had to pay, Jeff Ward when we brought Sutter. I'm sick of paying guys. If it doesn't work here, we don't know what that looks like. It's written into a lot of contracts, but this is also two guys that have relationships that go way back to the early 2000s. So if we knew those things, it'd be easier to handicap, wouldn't it?
It would be, but to your point, I think that there is a relationship there, obviously. Yeah. I think that it's not crazy to think there could be some sort of a buy, not a buyout, but we'll negotiate something. If they did sign this 3-year extension and it's just 3 years, if there's no kind of quirks to the contract. I'm guessing you can negotiate your way out when it's two guys, those two guys specifically. So I know it's 3 years and it sounds like it's hard and fast, and we know that he doesn't like paying coaches. I just wonder in this case if maybe there's a little wiggle room on that. Because I just don't.
If he didn't get paid the end of that contract and they ended up paying Bill Peters for the end of his deal, which the way they were talking sounded like
that's not Darryl's fault. That's not.
No, of course not.
Yeah.
I'm just, And look, Darryl's also, he's a lot of things, but stubborn's one of them. He might think, I'm going to, like, everyone get away. I'm in my silo. I'm fixing this. We got to get rid of everyone else. And there's the problem here. I think it's been a power struggle this year. I really do. When you look at the GM's moves and the coach's lineup, and I think there's been a lot of nights where the goaltending crew has wanted a certain guy and another one in, and I'm sure that's happening all around the organization because that's kind of how Darryl operates. He hasn't lost this power struggle. He's the only guy that's got a deal. Everyone else is up this summer, like not just the GM, like a vast majority, I would believe, of hockey ops people. It's a lovely notion that he'd go back to the ranch. I don't know. It's not like something in character. They had to fire him in LA.
Well, I mean, how did it end here? Right? It was because remember, Ken King, it wasn't a firing. It was the GM office, and that's not what he's good at. And then it was no. I mean, when he left Calgary, there was no exit interview with Darryl. There was no press release saying that he had been let go or they were moving on. It was just
when Darryl left.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, and I'm just saying that's his GM. That's not what he's good at. This is what he's good at. This is where he's got his jewelry, right? Oh,
but and again, we can move on. But I do think that you will have to take into account what the players have to say, and I don't get the feeling that there's much glowing about the coach. I don't think, I don't think that it's a secret. I don't think the players are not fond of him. And even if he has taken, put the kid gloves on a little bit, it's too little too late. That the team's just done with him.
Someone in the comments saying this is such a weak free agent class. There's no savior out there. That's been a problem, is thinking that your savior's in free agency. I don't think that's the direction this group goes. If you really wanted to get competitive here and make a bunch of moves, the coach and GM thing is obviously one component of it, but it wouldn't be crazy to say, here's Noah Hannafin. He's a guy that can play top pair on any team in the league. He's not going to run your power play, but he's a very good minute munching, both ends of the rink player. Give us a first plus and take those assets and turn that into another player. Like you could do that. You could do Tyler Toffoli with that. Michael Backlund would have value. He might be done if Darryl's coming back in terms of like hands up. Like it doesn't have to be we sell these guys and now we have to use these picks if you're Flames. Like, no, you can do exactly what Vancouver did. They literally traded Bo Horvat and took that pick and gave it to Detroit so they could get a defenseman who's going to be under team control for a while, and Philip Hronik. Like, you don't have to use that pick. That you could take that right on the draft floor, that first, and turn that into a good player.
Yeah. And I mean, even if you
want to do, right?
Yeah. Even if you wanted to go to free agency to find your savior, you got no friggin' room.
No.
Money's spent.
Yes.
For everybody that was waiting for that, you get the Lucic money back and all of this. I mean, you've spent it long ago. It's long gone. So
Uyghur, Huberdeau, and Vladar all jump considerably. I believe that the pay raises are around $10 million just for those three.
Yeah. Could you put Darryl as president? Kick him upstairs.
That doesn't feel like his personality type.
I don't think that's where he is at in his. I don't think that's what gets him going at this point in his life either. Right? It's not coach for a couple years and then we'll move you upstairs kind of a thing. He's a coach. He's tenured, winningest, one of the winningest coaches, cup rings, that whole thing. I don't know that he longs to be in the office anymore.
Remember when we had Frank talking about that role, that Poho, the president of hockey ops, and he talked about how it's got to be someone that really collaborates and, doesn't want his hand on the wheel.
Mm-hmm.
That's the exact opposite of Daryl Sutter. He wants his fucking hand on the goddamn tractor steering wheel, right? Like,
Yeah.
no,
Well, when
I'm
he
not letting
was,
you do
yeah,
this. This is how I feel. I do it this way. You know, Brian Burke is going to let the GMs do their thing. The scouts here, the data people bring their position to the table and say, what do you guys all think? Daryl is one of the least collaborative people that's run this team at the GM position in its history.
there's J Deep on the chat. Change the core, dude.
Just did.
They just did the core. We can't continue to do that because you name it, whoever it was, your captain. Well, he's gone. They still don't have a captain. Captain gone.
Mhm.
Monahan, Gaudreau, Kachuk, Bennett. The core is gone.
Yep.
Now that said, maybe you do need to change the core because it doesn't seem like the core that you have now really works. They don't seem to work together. I'll tell you, I usually don't like to bring up things that I don't necessarily have the answer to, but how many friggin' games now has it been for Kadri without a goal?
Too many.
He started the season
play well and not score, but it's been a rough go for a while.
He started so great, and I remember sitting there. He doesn't need a letter on his C. He's the leader of this team. He could be captain. You don't need to put a C on him. Do whatever you want. And he was scoring and playing ball. He was great for the first 10, 15, 20 games of the season. Yeah. But I think he's got to be 15 or more games now without a goal.
I'll pull it up.
And Mangiapane, of course, as we've talked about, he's kind of in that same area. He can't buy one. He cannot buy one. But for Kadri, you talk about being the savior. Yeah, that's kind of what they were doing. They gave him $7 million a year in UFA. You can't go a calendar month without getting a goal when you're that guy.
32. They have aging curves there. They knew this thing is going to look awful at the end. And if they're not good at the beginning, like, it's a shit sandwich. It's the same with the Huberdeau extension, probably the same for the Uyghur one. When you're committing this much term to guys at that age, you know it's bad at the end. What you're trading that off for is what you think can be really good in the near term. And maybe that is what spurns this owner to think about things a little differently. Is there a coach, a system, a different philosophy that could come in around these guys you're committed to and make it work better? It'd be hard to make it work worse, to be fair. And I don't know how much of that's on Daryl or the players, but there's lots to go around.
Is that the same Nathan back in again? Kadri is brutal right now. Too focused on this off-ice.
Rangers. That was in Calgary that Saturday night where they won in overtime, I want to say.
That was early Feb, right?
Feb 18. They followed up that big win at home, the homestand, with a loss to Philly.
Okay, well, let me.
They preceded that game with a loss to Detroit.
You're making me do the math now. I'll go and count it up.
Oh, sorry, I can count them. I just gave you the date. That was game 56. Tonight's game 71. So that's 14, 15 games.
Like, right?
Oh, yeah.
Not good, Bob.
No. And look, you can play well and not score, but when you look shitty and you're not scoring, it's like, yeah, there's not really a case to be made that you're playing well.
Goodness gracious. So, had the goal against the Rangers. And yeah, since then, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, whatever. He had a 2-point game against Ottawa. He's had 4 without. He didn't get a point on that goal tonight. Did he get that? I don't even know. I blocked this game out already. This is now 4 without a point. Before that, he had a couple without a point. This has been a horrendous run for Nazem Kadri.
Yep. And look, what happens? I mean, I guess it'd probably be too strong to say like they're out of it, so guys are checked out. That's not true because they've been a spot where they're close enough they shouldn't be. But get ready for lots of that in the next 11. Not from Kadri, but from the people that have logical brains and know that this thing is the math is real ugly now. Tonight was your chance to make it respectable.
14 games without a goal for Mangiapane. And here's the thing. We can sit as fans and as whatever, you can kind of sit and rip them or whatever. Those guys care. How hard and how even just your professional pride, you'd be embarrassed. You'd feel awful that your team's losing. You'd feel awful you can't contribute. And he's kind of got his money now. He got paid. That was the big story from a year ago, was how are you going to afford this 30 goal guy? And it couldn't have gone worse for him. He must feel like shit.
It's tough.
I like the
deals.
guy. You know, he's been a really good Flame, but you have to feel like he's just sitting there getting into the vehicle after every game being like, what have I got to do? What do I got to do?
Yeah.
What was that? I'm going to need to get my glasses on.
Can you put your sunglasses on?
How long are we going to do this thing? We've been doing this for 40 minutes. Christ.
Start early. Come on. It's all right.
The one board that they had on the broadcast tonight.
The board of death. Yeah.
Games decided by 1 goal, 41. Losses in 1 goal. And tonight, but for the record, was not a 1 goal game.
No, they weren't committed to their one philosophy.
8-2 the final. Losses in 1 goal games, 26. Overtime shootout losses, 15. Third period comeback wins, 0. Losses when out shooting opponents by 10 or more, 21. And they did do the number of goal posts hit, 77, which they're saying is
and you're missing the small font, which is most in NHL, most in NHL, most in NHL, most.
Well, that's what I was going to say.
NHL, and most in NHL history.
Yeah. So there you see it. Goosh.
Yep.
That, my friends, is a goosh.
It's a big goosh right there.
Yeah. There's Sheldon checking in. Pinder, are you ready for your golf trip?
We're getting there. We got a bunch of golf shirts on the floor. We got to throw them in a bag. I've decided to not use my golf clubs, but ones that belong to my brother in a garage somewhere down there. Could be a tactical error, but usually I'm shitty enough that it really isn't the club's fault. It's often mine.
Are you golfing anywhere fancy? Anywhere special?
I'm
anywhere we know?
With my father at his club. It is the member guest, and his usual guest had back surgery this winter, so I got the invite back in the fall. It's a very, very big event on the social calendar down there. It
does sound, yes, at the club.
Please have a collar and jacket and slacks, please. No,
I bet you do. You do need to have a collar and slacks, don't you?
Right. That's old people.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna probably not play well, and hopefully the hoof's feeling all right.
So, what friggin' time is it? It's already Tuesday, almost. So now it's the Ducks.
Oh, good.
So now what? Go and blow the doors off the Ducks, or this is.
Okay. So if you blow the doors off the Ducks, you could still, make some hay because you've got Nashville in action tomorrow, and the Jets are playing again soon. But really, if you want to see a corpse of a dead animal, it's another performance like they had against the Ducks a week and a half ago. That Friday at home. If they are no good tomorrow, not that this doesn't have a bunch of nails in it, but you can work on the eulogy.
I was almost going to ask you about the lines, but I don't think I'm going to.
Yeah.
Because it was, when should they have pulled Markstrom? Should they have pulled him after the first? When should they change the lines? Are they going to get, is Pelche actually going to sit? When are they going to get Lucic? Are they going to put Lucic back and all that? It really feels like it's wasted effort and air right now.
Yeah.
What are we going to talk about?
I mean, if you want to throw Walker back out there tomorrow and Milan gets to come back in, there's lots of guys that could use a press box.
You know what, Ruzicka is so disappointing. And not just tonight, but even watching a few plays.
It's his whole career.
Too bad, man.
This has always been it. You don't have that size and skill and go in the 4th round. The only knock there's ever been is that he has a really tough time bringing his A game with any regularity. If that guy works as hard as he can and plays well every single night, he's a 1st or 2nd round guy. He's not in the 4th. And so when people get excited about him, it's you should be excited about the skill set. Just don't get excited about the results because it's going to be there and then it's gone.
There's old Hunter. Hunter McKinley on the YouTube. Pelche isn't playing after the turnover on the 8th goal. Guarantee. I said it earlier. That's all. I think that's all Daryl needed to see.
Would you forgive me if I didn't see that one?
You can go up. Head up. Walker Durr.
Nick Ritchie, though. Another penalty. I don't know. Did he take a penalty?
It's whatever.
There was a shot of him on the bench. Oh, dear. It was 6-something.
Staring off into space with that.
Like, he had the furnace face going with that.
Yeah.
Steamed up visor. Just like.
Yeah. That's what I've come to know.
Are nearing the very end of guaranteed contracts. You might be in the PTO territory next year.
How much money do I have in checking? That's what he's thinking. I shouldn't have bought that gold-plated toilet.
Yeah.
Wonder if I can put that on eBay. What'd I get for that? Oh, I'm up next. Okay, thanks, Coach. And Curdum 03 with the what do you call it? The comment of the night, I guess. You ate to see it. Yes, Curdum, you definitely ate to see it. Well done. I can't beat that. I don't have anything else. It's been 46 minutes. We walked you through the last 10 minutes of the third period or so. They play in Anaheim, and then they play Vegas.
At home.
And
they got the Kings next.
Yeah.
It's and you know what's going to be funny is it's going to leave them far enough out that they're going to finish their season with 6 of 7 against Dusters, or like 9 of 10, 7 of 10 at home. And it's just like, you fuckers.
I don't know. I wonder, I've said it before, and I just wondered with this group, I wonder if there is a spiral.
Look, absolutely.
They don't seem like they're particularly close knit. They don't seem like a real team. I've said they look like a collection of hockey players that go out there 5 at a time.
They do.
It just 5 guys over the boards, and then they come back and 5 more go out. That I just think they're truly. They got wives and kids. When are the kids done school? Where are we going on holidays? You can start booking all that shit now. And I just wonder where that give a crap meter is. How many guys really have something to play for going into next year?
There's no free agents, so no. I mean,
everyone's got their dough, and a lot of them have the big dough. They've got that big contract.
Yeah. And look, I think a lot of people will hear you say that, interpret that as like, how could this GM do this? But I also think the way that Sutter's handled them, they're just at a point of their careers where they're like, I'm just not doing it for this asshole. Like, screw you, bud. I got more term than you. I know this is over. And like, look, you didn't give us enough power. You could even make the case. Like, if you don't let us have a leader with a letter and you want to be that guy, I feel like that's hurt them this year. I really thought it was a non-issue at the start of the year. Maybe they don't have that guy, but it's like, Daryl can't be the face of the franchise when things are going like this. It doesn't work. I think there are other people on planet Earth that could make this group more cohesive rather than making the workplace a place you do not want to go and you like dread walking into.
You want to see some cool shit from my office?
Sure. Last time we did this, you had a Titleist cap on.
Yeah, I know. I just bought a new keyboard.
I
bought a new wireless keyboard. It's the Logitech MX mechanical keyboard. So it sounds kind of, it gives you the old clickety clack. You want to hear it? Here, I'll give you the.
I thought we wanted silent ones. Is that not what you want to do? When you...
No, you want a little bit of a. Feels so good.
What did you write there?
I just hit some keys.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That would be fun.
You'll be very happy with this one. Get ready. Are you ready for it?
Stapler, yeah.
And not just any stapler.
Swing line.
Can you see?
It's got to be a swing line. Boston?
Sure
it's not focusing on me.
That's right. Swing line.
Swing line, yeah.
It's a red swing line stapler. She's
owned by a security that Mr. Lumberg said that, and she took my swing line, the Boston.
This is my need something to cut this open. Oh, I got a
Milton Wadhams.
I got this today One of the new things for the office. Oh, I bought some. You know what I did? I went to the old Dollarooski.
Oh dear.
Hey,
Oh, see, that's what I can get behind. Next time you're there, grab me a pack.
there you go.
I love
Some of
Sharpies.
those.
I was thinking I need to color code a little more.
And
Yes.
thicker ones. All right.
Yes.
No free plugs, but you're welcome, Sharpie. And
Look at
some
you.
tighter ones there. Oh yeah, buddy.
You used to crush me for having highlighters in the studio. Turncoat.
Okay, so this I got today. This is because I'm very happy with my little setup. I may never leave the house again. This is perfect. It's all coming back around.
Definitely.
I've got my home studio set up. I can stay home and I don't ever have to see you again.
Or any other
Ever.
people. Yeah.
It's going to be fantastic. So that's the power cord. This is, I'm going to unwrap it. This is the unwrapping as we speak. Mm-hmm.
Are we going to make a non-Kerr record tonight for time?
What is it, 60? No, we're out of here soon.
Good. Thank you.
So this is a...
Show and tell. Christ.
Well, what else are we going to talk about? So this is my new little charging port, my USB charger.
Okay.
So you got your power on the back, plug it into the wall socket,
Yo.
and I've got 2 USB-A's and 2 USB-C's. So I've got my headphones, USB-A. I've got my iPad, which you can't see right now. I've got a great setup.
Well,
It's awesome.
Wireless keyboard. That's going to need to charge too, Dean.
The wireless keyboard needs to charge. Everything needs to charge. So I can charge 4 things at the same time.
Yeah.
But what I've got here...
You're never leaving home. You're right.
I wonder if I can show you this. I will be able to. I've got a
So
teleprompter. It's a teleprompter in front of me. So ordinarily I'd be just looking at the camera lens, right? Because right in front of me, camera lens,
Yeah.
right? But instead, look what I got,
Dear.
right?
It's
So
you showing an
I am
iPad on YouTube. What the hell?
But I'm screen... Can you see what's on there, though? It's you. It's
Yeah.
our broadcast.
Yeah.
So I'm screen sharing my actual screen on this. Now I drop it in here, and I could look at your stupid face right there. You're right there.
Oh, shoot. You got a mirror over there?
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm getting?
I haven't ever seen a teleprompter or confused as hell because you just put it down flat. But for people that have worked in the TV industry, yes, we know. It's going to angle up and you're going to have a reflection.
It angles up and then bounces so that the lens doesn't see it. So I'm so smart.
Never leave
What
home.
else?
You're ready for that next pandemic, eh?
I got the light. You want to see how bright the other light goes? Watch this. Oh,
Very
that's
good.
the wrong way. This thing's going to burn my skin right off of my head. That's the
right there.
That's the Aperture 120D Lightstorm.
Okay, I'm gonna go. I think it's afterburner for.
And I've got it. I've got the Aperture Light Dome, the Light Dome 2.
Thanks, Dean. Good show.
For softer light, but for afterburner, I turn it right down. See, like this here, so more ambient. That's it.
Well, that was wonderful. Big game tomorrow. Wish you the best on afterburner. Really breaking me up. I can't be there for it.
Bought a new trash can. And
You can use that tomorrow night.
I'm not a fucking animal. Little recycling bin. Hey.
You need a lot of paper, especially if you're doing a show with Kerr.
What else have I got here?
All right, Dean, it's been
Right,
fun.
let's go.
Have a good one.
Thanks to our sponsors, BK Bowfort Liquor. Christ, hey, on a night where we needed liquor, where's Mandeep?
Well, it's liquor here. Some of us are
Liquor
a little
where?
more responsible about our drinking.
BK Bowfort Liquor, located on the Trans-Canada Highway across from Winsport, beside McDonald's. Stop in, stock up, say hi to Mandeep and his lovely, lovely family. And, of course, Derrick Newman of Newman Dean's Real Estate Group, CIR Realty. Buying or selling, let Derrick do the work for you. Email Derrick at dnewman@cirrealty.ca or call 403-619-6661.
Do it.
How's your goat?
It's getting better.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay,
Brett would
good
have some
talk.
hocus pocus medical advice for me.
Yeah, that's weird. That's
Hello.
odd. Do join us on the other show. I guess I'll be back tomorrow night with more scintillating afterburner. Can't
Or
wait.
show and tell from Dean's home studio on Afterburner, where all the cool cats hang out.
I got Kleenex.
Kleenex. Wow.
You needed some of that today. You want to talk about that?
Holy shit. I was leaking.
What was going on with you? Like every time I looked over at you, it was like
dripping. I don't know. And then nothing the rest of the day. I haven't used a Kleenex since.
Weird.
Faucet was on. Did Pinder just
eat a weed gummy?
I have no comment about that. Might be a Ricola, might be a weed gummy. Who's to say? Got to get home before this kicks in.
Good night, everybody.
Have fun tomorrow.